Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we're back on the Stitches Challenger and diving into the thing that's either going to work really well or it's going to turn into a complete disaster. Want to see how it goes? I don't even know yet now either myself, so don't go away. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
In our last episode, we had worked on rebuilding the roof bow and strengthen it and reinforcing it with some 5/16 steel rod, and I'll show you that in just a minute. And we have it following the contour of the roof exactly the way it should. Now that roof bow goes right in here like this on the inside. And a problem we have is the deepest dent in this roof, which I believe is from the forklift, where it pulled out. This whole thing was crushed all the way across. I got most of it hammered out, but this part in here, I've thrown everything I have at it. I've tried shrinking, stretching, heating, quenching, grinding, hammer and dolly. There's a point, in my opinion, and this is YouTube, so everybody has an opinion and whatever, but in my opinion and experience, there's a point at which metal can be stretched so far, it's virtually impossible to get it to shrink back 100%. And I feel that's where I'm at with this right now. So I've thrown everything in the book at it. All that work is here 4 years ago on the channel. It was some of the very first episodes that I did. I even tried using a pick hammer and shrinking the metal that way. I got most of this out. We got most of the oil canning out, but this one spot right here has just kicked my hinder. So I have to get this dent out in one way or another to get the roof bow to fit in, because right now it will not fit. It will not fit flush because of this low spot right here, which is worse than I thought. It's probably closer to 1/4 of an inch. So I have pondered, thought, prayed, begged, sacrificed small animals or whatever it is to seek the wisdom of the Almighty on this. And I thought about doing a cut and butt. I've talked to some other people who do a lot of metal work. They didn't recommend that because, and I've had this experience also a couple of times on a huge piece of metal like this, even though you're not really removing any material on a cut and butt, when you start bringing a lot of relief to a large area, this whole thing can just go into a huge pretzel. One person, and I tend to agree with this, said, look, it's a vinyl roof car. Get some tiger hair, fill it, and move on. I would do that if the roof bow wasn't right here. Now, I know we could put a roof skin on it, but the point of the Stitches Challenger is not to throw money at it. It's to throw ingenuity at it. It's to put skill into it. So some things are not going to be perfect. I don't care, because I'm having fun. It's my car, and I'm doing it my way. The second thing is, even though this is a 70 Challenger, I'm demonstrating techniques that can be done on any project. And while I may be able to buy a roof for a 70 Challenger, although that's questionable right now with all the supply issues, the reality is if you have a 1972 Peugeot, you can't buy a roof for it. You have to make it work or find one off of a scrap car or whatever, right? It doesn't have to be a Peugeot. It could, anything that's outside of the norm of what is reproduced, you're going to have to learn how to make it work. So I think the thing that makes the most sense is to take the two deepest creases here and here, and I am going to just cut a slice in there to bring some relief to this material. The roof bow is actually about right here, which is the worst part of it. I'm just going to take I've been waffling back and forth. Do I use my cutoff wheel? Do I use my plasma cutter? And I think from the perspective of the width of the cut, I need to create some relief. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use the cutter on this and pray to God that this whole thing doesn't go boom, because it could. So I'm taking a huge risk here. I've weighed the odds. I've weighed the facts. I've weighed what could happen. And I think this is the way to go. I could be wrong. You're going to find out real soon.
I can already hear the screaming that you guys are doing right now as I'm talking about this.
I did promise you that I would show you the reinforced roof bow. So here's our roof bow with our two 5/16 rods. We got to do a little grinding down here, but they match the contour of the roof almost perfectly now. This piece was a pretzel. It was caved way in. We fixed all that. It's nice and rigid now, so it should provide some good structural support for the roof once we get this area here taken care of. I was keeping a real close eye on that as I was cutting it, and the thing that I loved is I saw nothing move around here, and all I did was see this suck down, which I kind of expected it to do. So we may go ahead and do more, but right now I want to see if, with what I've gotten done, if I'm going to be able to move that up. So I've got to figure out probably the best way to get at that. I need to be able to reach both sides of it. So I think the way to do this is probably spin the car down flat and just work at it from the other side. So give me a minute to get that done. I think maybe I need something to stand on. Push up on. Oh yeah, that's going to do exactly what I want it to do. Very good. So I think, I'm wondering if the one advantage I have now to this that I didn't have when I was doing this when the car was outside, when I was hammering all this out, is I actually have a floor in the car now that I can work and push up here if I want to, and I think I'm going to try that. I wasn't thinking that originally, but I'm thinking a bottle jack and pushing about right here with these relief cuts gently, and then tink, 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 tink. I think that may do it. I know I tried pushing up on it before, and it was causing all kinds of warpage over here, but I think with these relief cuts here, which is where the worst of the stretch was, which basically I cut out, it may work. So let me cogitate here a minute and run around and see if I can find my friend Jack and see if he'll give me a hand. All right, here we go with our little Captain Caveman press. Little piece of wood at the top at the lowest point in the roof. I'll show you that up here, which is right in here. So let's see, where is that? Yeah, we're actually right here. So we're going to put some up pressure on that very gently and slowly and see what happens. I think I'll put my little handheld unit up here so you can see what's happening. You can see that. So I'm going to go down here now and just put a little up pressure, little bits at a time. Helps if you tighten down the shutdown thing. Oh yeah, got to get a handle. Hold on. I wish I was actually streaming this up to my TV, because it's really hard for me to see up there. I could stream what you guys are seeing. Okay, let's try this and see if this works. There we go. Perfect. Oh, see that right there? That's exactly what happens. This is the thing I've been struggling with all the while on this. However, I think I'm going to try dollying this just a little bit now and see if, that's the corner of our 2x4 right there. I put a little crease in the roof. I know if I let this down, that's probably going to pop back up. But I want to tink, tink, tink a little bit, especially right here now, and see what happens. But you see, this is every time I would try to get this up further, because of the amount of stretch in there, this would suck down. Now that comes back, And with the roof bow in there, that's going to help support that. So I'm not terribly worried about it now, but I want to try to get this up closer where we want it, especially this spot right here. Oh, didn't mean to do that. That's not bad. Like I said, I'm sure some of you guys, our heads are exploding right now. Not bad. Okay, let's let some pressure off of this now and see what happens. I also want to try to... Nope, I caused that one right there. Shoot. All right, no big deal. Boom, and it popped back up. Okay, that's what I expected to see happen. That's pretty good. It's all about understanding how that metal is going to move. Okay, I need to move my block of wood in here. I do need to fix that one spot that I screwed up right there. Okay, I'm happy with that. And this is significantly better now for sure. I think I'm going to try pushing on the cut part right here. Give me a second to reposition. Okay, it's good. It's still strong over here. If I push up harder here, of course it's going to oil can. But even the spot now that's oil canning, if you can see that over here, yeah, you can. That is significantly smaller. So I want to test fit my roof bow inside now. I want to do a little hammer and dolly, but I'm realizing that if I already tried this once and you guys about went flying, I don't want to throw my camera across the shop. That would be expensive. So let me do a little hammer and dolly work off camera here, and then we'll check the roof bow and see where we're at. Really happy with that. So I just went around and just did a little more hammer and dolly work in here, and everything is nice and rigid now. And so definitely we need to get inside of this cleaned up and get this roof bow installed before I even attempt to do any welding on that at all. Now there's a couple issues that I'm dealing with right now. The epoxy for that, to glue that roof bow up, is expensive, and yeah, money's really tight. So that's not going to happen immediately, but I think we can go ahead and get the inside of this roof cleaned up some, at least in this area. There we go. I went through and wire brushed all that clean, and ready for the rust conditioner. I'm not going to be using that Permatex stuff that I used on the outside. I'm going to use the stuff I normally use. I broke loose all the scale, all the loose stuff. It's all been wire brushed completely on just the metal. I didn't do the window frames and stuff. I'll catch that later. Because right now I want to focus on getting these new braces or new mounts put in for the roof brace to go back in the car. But with rust, it's you don't have to get it down to shiny bare metal, contrary to what some people say. All you have to do is get it to the point that paint will stick to it. The rust conditioner will stick to it. You get it sealed so that oxygen can't get into it and it won't rust anymore. Rust is oxidization from oxygen. And if you seal it so oxygen can't get at it, then it won't rust anymore. So I don't waste a ton of time trying to get everything perfect. My goal is to get it done. And I can tell you, I have cars that I've done this to 30 years ago, and it's still perfectly fine today. And I still own those cars, and there's not one speck of rust showing through. So proof is in the pudding as far as I'm concerned. If you want to go further than that, that's totally up to you. But the whole point is to stop deterioration, and the process that I've been using for 40 years does that just fine. You can disagree with that. I don't care. I'm telling you what I do. That's what this channel is all about. All right, I got the ends cleaned up now on both ends of this thing. The old pieces cut out. So now we get to go in the car and make a couple of pieces to go there and up there where that big hole is to mount that roof bracket to. And they're just basically a C-piece like this. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. So I'm going to get out some, probably some 18 gauge and make up a couple brackets. And, well, I'll take you through that process. Why not? All right, I just took some time to make a concept out of 20 gauge. And this is where it'll go, like so, ish, ishy-ish. So now I can take and make the same thing out of this piece of 18 gauge that I have here. Should work just fine. So I'm going to lay it this way, hammer that out a little bit, and make myself a couple pieces of that. So I'll take you through the process of how I came up with the design. It's pretty similar to what was in there, but when I took that roof bow out, I didn't waste any time. I just blew those right off of the roof rail inside the car. So it's fine. I'm going to weld this in way better than factory when we do it anyway. So it should be good to go. And I think I'm going to come up with a way to temporarily put it in there until I can get the glue that we need to put on there, although I'm thinking of some alternates. And we'll see. I might have some stuff here that'll work. So I cut myself out a little piece of metal. I started out by just marking the inside dimension of what it has to squeeze down to, and then leaving myself some flanges to weld to. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to bend our little, well, I want to bend my wings first. So I'll show you that. So we're going to go ahead and bend these here, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we've got that all bent in place now. So I need to come up and just mark the edges up here on both sides and then cut those verticals off, so then we can that up and make a nice little box to put that onto. So like I said, we'll just mark this edge down at the proper angle here on both sides, and then we need to nip these little L pieces off here. There we go. Got it all bent up. It's close. And my goal will be to weld this sucker solid here and then be able to weld this with a couple of plug weld holes through underneath. Once it's in the car, same thing on this side, and then weld it hopefully right to the roof of the car also, or to the roof brace, so that it's extra strong because of what we're trying to accomplish. So remember that this piece is not just about holding the the dome light, but it's also about providing some structural integrity to the roof. So I've got a lather, rinse, and repeat. Make another one of these, and of course this piece here, take you over here and show you. Try not to move too fast so I'll make you sick. It'll go right there like so, and there'll be one on each side. So I need to duplicate that, make one for the other side, and we'll go from there. There we go. It's in there. Like how that go. It's in there. Tack welded in 3 places, close enough for now. I want to get the one on this side done, and then I'll get the roof bow test fitted in place and make sure that everything lines up very copacetic and not so pathetic. Once I'm confident over that, then we can weld those braces in, or those mounts in permanently 100%. But for now, good enough. It'll work for the first step here. Just like that, it's in there, just tacked in 3 places again. It's too flat. I can't show you, but anyway, they're too flat. But I think when we get the roof bow in there and just push up, that's going to knock everything up exactly where it needs to be. Hopefully my tack welds are strong enough, and we will go from there. Just like that, it's in position. It's pretty darn close. I'm going to get the tools out of here and flip the car up on its side just so we can get a better look at the top. But we're in the right place. It could be adjusted a little bit, but I don't have the Acompucky to glue it in place right now, remember. So when we do glue that in place, I'm probably going to do 2 bottle jacks like this and hold it on each side, probably out closer to the end. We'll see what we can do about getting that after Christmas here sometime. Hopefully some money shakes loose for that. But yeah, it's I like it. It's good progress. So let's spin this down so we can take a look at the roof. I got to batten down my light and a few other things before we do that, though. Really happy with the way that is now. This has got a lot of strength to it here. So I want to talk about the metal a little bit. So one of the things that happens is when we're trying to shrink this metal here, if we can't shrink it enough, what it starts doing is putting its stretch over here, pushing this way, causing this to cave in like you saw. So And that's why I think this is just overstretched to the point that it can't do the job anymore. I'm really tickled with the way that this is working here with this relief cut. And I'm very tempted to come over here and cut a little bit more, because I honestly think with more relief taken out here, this is going to get even stronger. It's pretty strong now. And of course with the brace right here, it's super strong. This is not abnormal for a roof though. And so, you know, it's looking pretty good. It's got a little bit of a dent right in here too. That's also needs to be shrunk a little bit, and that will help this some as well. But overall, I'm pretty happy with that. So I talked to Becky, and she's going to pick up some rust conditioner. So the issue is going to be whether or not she gets here in time today for me to get that done. I'm going to speculate no. I actually have a friend coming from out of town. He'll be here in a little while. So this may be as much as we get accomplished today, but this is huge progress. Again, on a day it's raining. I can't paint the truck. I was planning on painting that truck today. I'm just holding on the weather, which is totally fine. There's no stress on that. When the planets align, everything will come together and that truck will be done like that. I do have the good prep solve for it, and we're ready to rock and roll. I'm just waiting for the perfect day. I don't care about it being cold outside. It's humidity that I'm concerned about. The second thing I wanted to mention on this is I am not going to be spot welding this all back together again until the roof brace is in permanently. Things are going to move around, and I'm not welding this to the roof brace, obviously, but I really want the strength and the support so that when I go ahead and start doing the little bitty tack welds that need to be done, and it will be a tedious, slow process to get that done, but then we're ready to go. Once that's done, I may only weld it to here, and then I may go ahead and continue on and put another cross here, push those pieces up, and tack weld that back together. That's really the direction I'm leaning. You can also see the end of one of my steel bars is putting a little dimple in the roof there, so we got to take care of that on the other side. But first things first is we need to get the inside of that roof coated with rust conditioner, and then get that two-stage glue stuff that you use to glue that roof to that support member. And that's going to be a while before I can do that. So this project part may get put on hold here for a while. I get a lot of crap sometimes for doing things on a shoestring, but I only have shoestrings, and that's the way we have to do it if I'm going to get them done. So then I get some flaming ashtray comes in and says, well, if you can't do it right, you should sell the car to somebody else.
How about you just eat my entire ashtray?
It's what my buddy Mark would call somebody pissing in your Cheerios. I get tired of it. I really do some days. Most of the time I have good margin for it, but other times I'm just like, go away. Just go away. I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. At the end of the day, a few hundred years down the road, all of this stuff is probably going to be rusted into the ground. Nobody's going to want it anyway. We're having fun, enjoying life, and if you don't like that,
go away. Just go away.
DIY, budget, hot rod, have fun. That's what it's all about. Make it safe, make it done, and go have fun. Yeah.